I mean, on the level of the program itself, I think it's a case of taking the original proposal and treating that very much as a rough draft of what you want to do. Sure, it'll set a few directions you might take, but there's really a lot more opportunities out there that you're not aware of yet. Nobody's ever going to come up and check that that what you did was exactly the same thing as what you had planned to do, and no one's going to take your money back from you. So the important thing is to seize the opportunities as they come up, rather than to try and sort of stick rigidly to the plan that you might have thought was the best plan at the time.
I would say go with open eyes, so that you don't have too many things set in stone, and you can be flexible and approach the opportunities that you have with an open mind, meaning that you might have your plans changed, as I did, for example, and spend more time away than you thought you were going to.
Just do as much as you physically possibly can when you're over there. Use the Fulbright to open all the doors you've always tried to open and get the experience, and then bring it back to Australia and try and disseminate the knowledge that you've learned throughout your area of expertise in Australia.
I'd say one of the things to do is to make sure you don't spend all your time in the lab or the library. Your Fulbright period goes very quickly. It's over much faster than you'd like it to be, and it would be a shame if you didn't spend time meeting other people, meeting people from different countries, different backgrounds, meeting and socialising with America, learning about American culture, about the American education system, about America in general. And so trying to get out of the library or the lab or the classroom and seeing as much as possible of American society is what I recommend.
If you think that you need to be proactive and you are proactive, be 100 times more proactive than you think.
The new Australian scholars going to the US, I'd advise them to travel. I travelled a lot when I was in the US. I saw 38 states. I slept in my car and drove around. I had a great time. It was really important for me to be able to see the good and the bad of America, to see the spectacular scenery, to meet the fantastic people, to see how many opportunities that America has.
You know, having a Fulbright scholarship is a fantastic opportunity, and it opens the door, but you've got to walk through the door. You know, the Fulbright Commission can take you so far, give you the opportunity, get you the placement, negotiate those fee waiver arrangements, all of that. But what happens next is highly, highly dependent on you.
Really make the most of the programs that the Fulbright offers in terms of engaging with the alumni community in the city that you're living in terms of seeing if there's opportunities to go on enrichment seminars or cultural events that allow you to meet other Fulbright scholars, because that's a really great way of getting to know other people that get from the United States and from around the world.
Just enjoy it to the absolute max. When you get to the United States, you realise that the Fulbright fellowships are actually an extremely prestigious award. It's perhaps not perceived that much that way in Australia, but in the United States, being a Fulbright is actually a big thing. They should exploit that as much as possible and get out into the culture, because that's one of the most important things of the Fulbright scheme, and I think it's even in the Fulbright Charter, that one of the main objectives of the scheme is to introduce people from overseas to American culture.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Go over there, travel as much as possible, spend money on flights, go to a lot of different places, and use your time over there wisely. It's not just about study. Definitely not just about study. It's about forming bonds. It's about forming links between Australia and the United States.
I made sure that during my scholarship I had some downtime, and just some of those places, just to have that little bit of downtime in some really, really nice places and just sit back and take it in.
I made sure I never stayed in a hotel, always stayed in local accommodation where I could, met as many people as we possibly could. And I felt that was the secret, trying to really have a conversation with people and extend a hand of friendship.
Don't assume that the United States is quite the same as Australia. It's subtly different, and you can get tripped up or commit social faux pas if you're not on your guard. So, it's good to know in advance.
But then once you're there, what I would say is really take advantage of what the Fulbright has to offer, which is a cultural exchange. That's really at the heart of the mission of it, and that's what really affected me being here, was that opportunity to go and live in another country in a way that I don't think there's many other scholarships or organizations that provide the kind of flow into, the kind of chance to experience another culture in the way that a Fulbright does.
The first piece of advice I would give, especially to the postgraduate scholarship holders, is to find a mentor in the institution they go to who will explain to them what the culture of American academia is like, because it is different in many respects. The expectations are different.
I was lucky in the first couple of weeks. When I was being introduced to a whole range of people, I had a great connection with one of the alum from my school who she became my angel, really, and she told me how to do things. So, and she guided me through a whole morass of paperwork and layers that are just, we think we've got bureaucracy. Over there it's many layers. So I would encourage people to find somebody, to ask someone for assistance. Don't attempt to try and work it out yourself, because it just causes a lot of angst.
Don't panic by the strangeness of lots of the things that you'll find, because the people are wonderful when it comes down to it.
My advice to people would be, don't stress unduly. Everything will happen. You'll get to the US, and when you get there you'll have the time of your life.
Have a talk to your alumni prior to going, because there's lots of little messages, little tricks and traps that you can fall into, and lots of little savings. That ability to communicate and have those links back to your alumni is extremely important.